Hey everyone, it's Chelsea from Little Mountain Ranch, and today we are going to start moving around the land, the soil. We're outside again. This is just going to be the story of the summer where there's going to be lots of kids in the background making all kinds of noise, jumping on the trampoline and playing some kind of ball game, it looks like, on the trampoline. Okay, back to what I was saying. Today we are going to start moving around the land. This time we're using shovels and not tractors, so there's going to be some physical labor involved in this. But we're going to start by creating the pathway areas and just moving the dirt up to make the terraces. So what basically I'm doing here, I'll turn this around so that you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, this gives you an idea of the space that we're working with. So the space between the fruit trees, that is this way here. This space here, this space there, and then there's another one down below. I am going to make a pathway in between that's probably going to be, I think, about 2 to 3 feet wide, going the length all the way down to the main garden. And then I'm going to raise up the land that is along where the trees are and build kind of a terrace there. And then it'll step down here, go across this way, step down here, and so on all the way down the hill. The reason that I'm doing this, and I'm sorry I'm going to be reiterating a lot of this information on each of the videos that I do about the food forest, just for the people that haven't seen the past videos to kind of explain what I'm doing so it makes sense. But I'm creating almost like swales, which is just kind of a indent in the land like this to be able to capture the water. And I'm going to be running those along the bank or along the length of the slope here. Or across the slope, I guess is what you would say, yeah, across the slope, so that when the water is, let me see if I can show you. So this is where the trees will be planted here, and then there'll be a step down here, and it'll go like this, and so on all the way down, and then at this part of the step, it'll go down kind of on an angle this way, so that when the water comes down here, rather than just going off this way, it's going to go back towards this way and then hold hopefully in this little area ditch, a sort of a ditch basically, that's what I'm making, is a ditch along the base of each one of these terraces to capture the water. That's my whole idea. Anyway, so we'll see if it works. The plan is that Kate and I are going to start moving the earth around. Liam is actually up doing some work on one of our vehicles right now because Kate is going away for a couple of weeks on this weekend and her vehicle needs some repairs, so Liam's doing that. And Dan was going to give us some help, but he actually hurt his rib really bad. He fell when he was helping me yesterday and hit his rib cage against one of my concrete planters. So we went and got x-rays today just to make sure that nothing's broken, and he doesn't get the results back for tomorrow. So hopefully he didn't break anything, but he is in a lot of pain, so he can't be manning the shovel. He was able to run the tractor okay. Kate and I are going to be moving most of this earth, so we're going to get our workout in for the day. Everything in my garden is straight-ish, and that's good enough for me. Even you can see my rows of trees here. I'll show you what I mean by straight-ish. So you can see this row of trees. There's a tree, and then there's the one sticking out over there and one over there. So these are straight-ish, and I'm going to make the lines for the pathways, again, along the same rather loose idea of straight. I'm going to go track down some stakes and some baling twine. I use baling twine for everything, but for my lines for us to work with. And then I think that's all we're really going to need, that and some shovels and maybe a pickaxe in case we have any boulders. We were able to get a lot of the rocks out, as Dan was telling. Unfortunately, it wasn't super rocky. All right, let's get started. I am not ashamed to admit when my ideas aren't good ones, and this, I mean, we could do this, but the reality is it's going to take forever because this is only tilled down about a foot, so a lot of the digging would be into like hard soil. So what I just asked Dan to do, and we're gonna see, he's coming over now, so we're just a sec please. So we're gonna see whether my idea is a good one or not, but it's to actually take the tractor with the bucket and run the bucket along this area to smooth it out and then just dump the soil down on the side. And then what Kate and I'll have to do then is to level out this upper part that's up over here. I'm hoping this is all making sense, but I guess it'll make more sense when you see what we're talking about. Yeah, I know, yeah, to do it by hand, yeah. That's what Kate just said, that is gonna take forever. Okay, so we have an idea, Dan, that will be much, much more efficient. Would you be able to take the tractor with the bucket and run the bucket just along this part, and that part, just 3 lines? All right, I don't know if I'm going to be able to put in the sort of the figuring out that I just did with Dan or not. If you'll be able to hear it or not. If you will, then you'll know what we're doing. But if not, he says that he thinks it'll be easier coming in this way with the tractor and scooping this and then lifting it up and then dumping it over the side of where this string is here. So I'm just going to be his eyes because this is a really big tractor, and the bucket on it doesn't rotate, like tip this way. So it really has to go in straight. So we'll see. I'm really fingers crossed that this is going to work, because this will save us a ton of time. Things done by hand. I love that kind of idea and that philosophy, but I have to tell you, I sure do appreciate machinery for jobs like this. Would have taken Caitlin and I, we're thinking probably days now, just took Dan less than 15 minutes. So I'll come here and I'll show you what we've done. This is kind of fun to have a camera person. Okay, this area here where Dan has put all the soil, Kate and I are going to basically level all this out so that this is a flat plateau or terrace up here. And then the bank that is here, this will be the rock wall. So this is hopefully giving you a better visual of what I was talking about. And then this leveled off spot here. Okay, so the idea is here is that this is going to be kind of angled back this way a little bit. And maybe after we get all this done, then we'll be able to get the smaller tractor in here to do that if it's too much work for Kate and I. But basically just a ditch running along the base of where the rock wall will be. And then the pathway will be probably a couple of feet wide like this. And then this area here will be another garden area. So that this area will be planting in up here, planting in down here, and so on all the way down here. So we decided to just start with one and see how that goes before Dan goes on to moving the soil in the other parts of the garden down here. So now I'm feeling a little more motivated to get going with the shovels. Doesn't feel quite so overwhelming. Oh, I'm so relieved about this. Okay, so we have it strung out. It's not even, it's actually wider on this end than it is on that end. And that's fine, I don't really care about that. So now what the plan is we're gonna get this all leveled out so that this terrace is done. And I'm hoping it's not gonna take us that long because I just did this little section in front here just in about 5 minutes. So how long? Let's have a wager. 25 minutes? 25 minutes? I was gonna say 30. So let's go, I'm gonna go with 40 for good measure. I think that we can do this in 40 minutes. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Okay, so it took us 30 minutes. Sorry, there's a pressure washer going in the background now. So if you come over this way and look down here, I'm just gonna see, can you really get an idea? Yeah, you can? You come over here so you can hear me. I'm going to put another fruit tree here, I think. I might put one of the seedberry bushes here, I'm not entirely sure. So this gives you an idea of what we're gonna do on this whole thing. So I'm gonna get down to come up now and do this next layer over. This only took 30 minutes. With the 30 minutes it took the tractor to do, an hour to make a bed this big. So that's fantastic. Hey, I just wanted to come behind a tree, so hopefully there's a little bit more sound protection from the sound of that pressure washer. The minute this is all finished, I'm gonna be able to start moving plants from my gardens over here. I'll actually quickly show you. So this here is an example of the state of the flower gardens at Little Mountain Ranch, and as you can tell, they're pretty much completely overrun with grasses, but there is a bunch of pretty plants in here. Right in here, this is a really tiny little dark purple iris that's in here, so I'm gonna remove some of those and then get rid of the rest of the grass. Actually, I think I'll probably just let the lawn grow right up to the edge of this rock, to be honest. And then there's this really pretty little evergreen, and I'll just put this somewhere just because I have a lot of space to cover down there as a ground cover underneath one of the trees. It's beautiful. Maybe somebody knows what this is. This is a really pretty pink rose, but as you can see, it's actually sent off little roses. It's kind of spread all over here. So I'm gonna move a couple of these rose bushes over there. This is so sad and so terribly embarrassing, but this is just the reality of the flower gardens around here. So I'm going to move, I'm not sure what these are, I can't remember. I think my mom called them wild geraniums, these little ones. So I'm gonna move those down. And then I honestly have no idea what half of these things are called, but I'm going to move them down because they're just gonna die in here. This looked really beautiful when we first moved here. I would be mortified if the woman that we bought this place from came and saw her flower gardens, the state of her flower gardens, because they just look awful. But it's because I just spend so much time in my vegetable garden, and because I don't have a ton of time, this is what gets neglected. So I figure if I move a bunch of these down to the perennial food forest area, that maybe they'll get some more attention and live out the next couple of years, because I think if I leave them here, they're gonna be dead. All right, I won't bore you guys with a time lapse again of us moving all of this dirt, but by the next time that you see this project, I'm hoping that we have all 3 of the terraces completed, and I'm gonna start being able to move some plants over from the flower gardens around the house. Over here, I actually moved 3 rhubarbs over, and I found a comfrey. I had actually planted comfrey a couple years ago and I thought they all died, but I found a little comfrey plant. So I moved it in under one of the trees up over here. And yeah, and then I'm gonna be able to start visiting nurseries and hopefully getting this all filled in. I really want to get all of the berry bushes and the fruit trees put in this year because they take a few years to get established. So that's my goal. And then I'll just fill in the rest of it with whatever I have as far as extras with squash and things like that. But it's gonna look so beautiful. Rory and I were just talking about how when these apple trees and plum trees are all filled out and they're kind of touching over the top of the pathways, isn't it gonna look beautiful? Like so magical. Exactly, it's gonna just look absolutely gorgeous. So thanks for coming along with us as we get this project underway, and I hope that you found it interesting or at least entertaining. We'll see you again in a couple of days. Bye guys. Bye.